FNCS Grand Finals is now over, and it was a super close race to win the FNCS title. And in this video, I'm going to be recapping it all, so let's get right into it. This season's Grands was an insanely close one where there were 5+ teams that all had a chance of winning FNCS going into Game 12. And the team to pull it off was Dukes and Edgy on 574 points. Edgy finally broke the second place curse, and he did it in solo clutch style last game, clutching up a 7 elim 4th as a solo for most of the end game. There was some controversy though, because this duel was being landed on for 10 games by Diego Plays in Smallzy, who only got 8 points the entire tourney. They never even got a kill on Dukes and Edgy and continued to land on them, making it one of the weirdest off spawn engagements I've ever seen. Nonetheless, Dukes and Edgy played amazing, and Diego probably shouldn't even have solo clutched the last game of Surge Week to save himself from what happened this weekend. Dukes also now becomes a 3-time FNCS champion, putting him up there with some insane players like Booga and Snacky on NA. Next in second place was Cooper and Mero on 541 points, an insane placement for Mero when he didn't even know if he wanted to play this season and actually retired for a couple days. This was also Cooper's first time IGLing, and for them to get second place is pretty insane. They had some really good solo clutches throughout the 12 games by each of them, so a really good performance for them. This is also a duo that a lot of people were sleeping on, even myself, to not even get top 10, so shout out to them for proving a lot of people wrong. In third place was the highest placing West player, Pollo and Sphinx. Just like in my prediction video, I said Pollo would make a name for himself this season, and he did. Both of these players are super underrated, and for them to qualify to the LAN at the end of the year is insane. This duo was also the highest placing duo for Mega City, when a lot of people thought that would be Reed and Epic Whale, with this duo actually 1v2'd one game. Super happy for this duo getting third, and a duo to look out for heading into next season for sure. Fourth place was Rise and Yamzo on 517 points, who were the highest placing contested team where the con actually impacted them. They got surprise contested by Nick and Nix, which actually made them be 13th after day 1. In day 2, they turned it up and were actually first place overall a couple times. They ended up getting first day 2 and placing 4th overall, so a pretty insane comeback for them while contested both days. Sadly, they just missed out on making the LAN again since it was top 3 to qualify, but next season, with it being top 10 to make the global championship, I think this duo will easily qual and book their ticket to LAN. This is sadly back-to-back seasons now where Rise and Yamzo are in first place sometime during day 2 and end up just missing out on the FNCS win. Next in 5th place was Booga and Threats on 518 points. The duo with the most wins in Grand Finals, but don't get it done in the end. A duo with probably the worst drop out of everyone in the top 5. Pretty south drop where the zones affected them pretty hard. This is around where I thought they would be this weekend. This is actually exactly where I predicted them to get this weekend. So not too bad for me, and not too bad of a placement for them in their first FNCS together. In 6th place was the reigning FNCS champs and this season's favorites, Acorn and Cold on 517 points. A 2-point gap between 6th and 4th, so a very tight finish for the top 5 teams. Acorn and Cold just made some small mistakes, and ultimately it cost them the tournament. One game they tried to clean up Bucky and Okus after Okus died out of the air, and Acorn tried to get Okus's loot after he ended up dying, and ended up dying himself to the same team Bucky and Okus did. Overall, a tough performance for them, and they come up just a bit short, but it will be a good lesson to learn and improve heading into next season and heading into the global championship in October. In 7th place was Fatch and Pamstu on 490 points. Another team just like Rise and Yamza, who had a fantastic day 2 to jump up the rankings. They got 5 top 10s on day 2 and then a 0-point last game. And without that last game, could have probably ended up top 3. An insane day 2 performance nonetheless, and another good performance from this duo who actually just played their 9th FNCS Grand Finals together. 9 different seasons with the same teammate is insane, and a reason why so many people love this duo. From the good to the bad seasons, they've stuck with each other and are always performing at the highest level. Next in 8th place is Aviv and Skittles on 477 points. A team I expected more from, but after a 17th on day 1, made it pretty hard to win. They did have a really good comeback on day 2 where they got 2nd place to help them get 8th place overall. Hopefully this duo sticks together heading into next season. This duo has now gone back-to-back top 8s, and I think a top 10 next season is very doable for them to qual to the LAN. In 9th place was Peterbot and Kwani on 409 points, and this duo a lot of people were expecting to be top 5 this weekend. A pretty underwhelming day 2 where they just couldn't get anything going outside of the last game, which they won. Without that win, it would have been a bottom 25 day 2 for them and an absolute collapse in general. And lastly, rounding out the top 10 this season was Baka and Pars on 396 points. Landing the worst drop out of every single top 10 team is pretty impressive, especially with zones pulling south a majority of the time. This duo had a very good day 1 but fell off a bit in day 2. The highest placing double West team nonetheless, so shout out to them for putting on a good display on a bigger region. Baca and Pars are going to be a team to keep looking out for next season for sure, and will continue to be one of the best former West teams competing on NA. Looking around at some of the popular teams and how they did this weekend, Agers and Kanata ended up getting 12th place, while Con at Racetrack, an absolute mess off spawn, so for them to get 12th is pretty good, but it's still sadly one of Kanata's lowest team game mode placements ever, which is crazy to see. And then we got Ree and Epic Whale, who got 14th this weekend. Outside of like 2 games, they just really didn't have any momentum. This duo is probably going to need a massive playstyle change to be competitive on this region. Whatever they did this season just never worked. They just rely on getting mythics and fighting skills when it's a lot more than that. Overall, this Grands was a super exciting one. It was super close and came down to the last game. If you guys have any questions about Grands or just want to chat about what happened, make sure to comment down below or join my Discord, where we are always talking about comp in there. I hope you guys enjoyed this FNCS Grand Finals recap video. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.